I still remember the exact words that hit my phone screen that night. I'm keeping the baby, but I'm putting my ex's name on the birth certificate. At first I thought it was some sick joke. My thumb hovered over the message, my mind scrambling for an explanation that didn't make me feel like the biggest fool on earth. But deep down, before I even called her, I already knew something had been off for a long time. Her name's Sarah. We'd been together for almost 3 years. Met at a friend's birthday party. One of those nights where you're not even planning to go, but somehow it becomes the night that changes your life. She was funny, smart, the kind of person who could make a dull room light up just by laughing. We clicked instantly. For the first 2 years it was perfect, or at least I thought it was. We were that couple everyone envied. We'd binge-watch bad reality shows, cook together on weekends, and talk about baby names when we couldn't sleep. She said she wanted to name our first daughter Emma, after her grandmother. I actually started to imagine it, me, her, and little Emma. Then, somewhere around month 24, she started to change. It wasn't sudden like a light switch. It was slow, quiet. First it was her phone always flipped face down. Then came the late nights at work. And the new perfume she said she bought because it felt empowering. I asked her once if everything was okay between us. She smiled, kissed me on the cheek, and said, "You worry too much." But her smile didn't reach her eyes anymore. About 2 months later, she told me she was pregnant. I swear, in that moment I felt something inside me explode, joy, fear, everything at once. I hugged her, lifted her off the ground, spun her around. I thought it was the start of a new chapter. She didn't cry. Didn't even look surprised. She just stood there. That should have been my first red flag. Still, I didn't question it. I went all in: prenatal vitamins, doctor appointments, reading baby books, even repainting the spare room. I was ready. I was excited. And she seemed distant. She barely touched me, barely smiled when I talked about names or strollers. Then came the night everything fell apart. It was a Tuesday. She'd gone out to clear her head. She said she needed some alone time, that pregnancy hormones were making her emotional. I didn't argue. I stayed home, made dinner, and waited. Around midnight, I texted to check in. No reply. Another hour passed. Nothing. When she finally got home, I could smell the alcohol. Her lipstick was smudged, hair messy. I didn't want to assume the worst, I really didn't. I asked, "Were you drinking alone?" She looked me straight in the eye and said, "Yeah." But something about the way she said it, too fast, too defensive, didn't sit right. The next morning she was gone before I woke up. No note, no goodbye. Just her toothbrush missing from the bathroom and her half of the closet cleared out. My stomach dropped. I called. Texted. Nothing. Days passed. I tried reaching her family, but they said she was taking time to figure things out. 2 weeks later that text came in. The one that shattered me. "I'm keeping the baby, but I'm putting my ex's name on the birth certificate." I called her immediately, but she didn't answer. When she finally did, her voice was cold, calm even. "Sarah, what are you talking about? What do you mean your ex's name?" She sighed. "It's not your baby, Luke." I felt the air leave my body. "What? What are you saying?" "It's Jake's," she said, "her ex. The same guy she swore she was over years ago." I remember gripping the phone so tight my knuckles went white. "You told me. You said you hadn't spoken to him since before we met." "I lied," she said quietly. "It happened once, around the time we were fighting. That was it. No apology. No tears. Just it happened once." I didn't even know what to say. I think I just hung up. My mind went blank. I stared at the wall for hours, the words replaying in my head. It wasn't even the betrayal that broke me most. It was the fact that I had loved her so completely, so deeply, that I built a life around her, and she walked away like it meant nothing. Weeks turned into months. I tried to move on, but I couldn't stop checking her social media. One day I saw it, a post. Her holding a newborn baby. Caption: "Welcome to the world, my little angel." And right there in the comments her ex Jake wrote, "She's perfect. Just like her mom." It was like someone drove a knife straight into my chest. I deleted the app, threw my phone across the room, and cried harder than I ever had in my life. But you know what's funny? Pain changes you. A few months later I started therapy. I focused on work. I went out again, met new people, and learned something I'd never known before. Peace. Not the kind that comes from forgetting, but the kind that comes from accepting. One evening about a year after everything, I saw her again. She was at the grocery store, holding a little girl's hand. I froze. The girl had Sarah's eyes. She saw me. Our eyes met. For a moment time stopped. She smiled, a small, almost guilty smile. I nodded. That was it. No words. No anger. Just closure. As I walked away, I realized something. She had made her choice. And in a way I was grateful. Because if she hadn't broken me then, I'd still be living in a lie. That night I drove home, opened a beer and looked out the window. The city lights blurred through my tears, but this time they weren't from pain. They were from freedom. And I remember thinking, sometimes the people who hurt you the most are the ones who accidentally save you.